Hey guys, welcome back to the Calibrate Tools and DIY channel. Another Tuesday, another live. Hope everybody's doing fine. I know it's been a long week, at least for me. And, I figured, it's election day and I'm not going to get into who's who and who's winning and all that. Everybody can follow that on their own. But what's most important is the issues at hand. And I thought I would tackle one of those issues. I think the number one issue that should be first on the agenda for any debate, race, politician, whatever, should be housing, right? Because everybody needs a place to stay. I mean, you really can't tackle any other issue first unless you talk about the basics, the basic necessities, right? Housing, right? Everybody needs food, shelter, and what else? That's it, food and shelter. So let's understand a little bit more about what's going on. We know there's a housing shortage in this country right now, and how did that happen? Well, a lot of things, right? The pandemic just happened. People talk about inflation. All that stuff contributed to the housing price, the housing shortage. A lot of builders, it's too expensive to build right now, so the supply and demand is out of whack, and so a lot of people are struggling right now, even if they're thinking about renting or buying. It's it's a mess, right? It's a mess. I mean, interest rates were, I think it's down to 6.4, something like that, down from like 8% at its highest. That's still not the 2% from back in the day when, people like, people on the Trump side like to say that he's going to bring that back. Well, that remains to be seen if he becomes the commander in chief once again. So, long story short, there's a housing issue here, and a lot of people are struggling. And that's not the only issue, by the way, but that is one of the main issues. Okay. So let's dive a little bit into that. Okay. Um, why is home ownership out of reach for a lot of people right now? Why is that? Well, I just mentioned that mortgage rates are pretty high right now, so that's keeping a lot of people, um, even those that have resources, they're keeping it close to their chest, you know, because they don't want to spend the money on those high interest rates, right? Over time, that's a lot of money. So that's keeping a lot of people, and it's keeping a lot of people out as well. Because if you can't qualify, then you won't be able to get into a new home. So you have one side, the Kamala Harris side, right? I actually like what they're proposing, and actually, both sides they agree on some issues. One of them is opening up federal lands. Anybody know what federal lands are? Well, that's the government land. Like, say you're driving down a freeway, and uh, all that land, vast amounts of land, right? Millions of acres are fenced off. Well, that's federal land. I always wondered about that, right? Why is that? Why is all this land not being used? And why is everybody confined in certain areas, and they call those areas cities? And if you go into certain other areas, you can't, because, or if you try to go, because it's federal land. So what's the definition of federal lands anyway? Let's look that up. Federal lands are lands in the United States that are owned and managed by the federal government. The federal government is responsible for managing and protecting these lands for a variety of reasons: preserving the country's resources, okay, conducting government business, whatever that is, and providing recreational opportunities for the public. So, does the United States government need those millions of acres to conduct business? Is my question. You got a lot of homeless people. I live in a city, okay, where the homelessness is rampant out here, and you got all this land out here that you can build on with money that's being printed to house these people. Why is that not happening? Well, that's another conversation for another day. Okay. But let's bring it back. You got two people vying for the commander in chief position, and they do agree on that part. Federal land should be open. Trump and Harris talk about, okay, we should open federal lands. I totally agree with that. I think Trump takes a more uh, business like attitude toward the housing crisis. His agenda is not as specific as Harris's agenda. Okay. Um, I think he's more on, providing opportunities for builders to, profit and, prosper again. Um, you know, bringing mortgage rates down, stuff like that. You don't hear that. You don't hear Harris, at least I didn't, based on the research, talking about bringing mortgage rates down. She's talking about giving tax credits, for first-time home buyers, and all that's great. But you can see the difference, the stark differences in approaches, right? So, yeah, like I said, Trump, he's approaching the housing crisis from another side, and I think they both have merit. They both have merit the way they're approaching it. But yeah, it's the number one agenda in my opinion. The cost of living overall has increased for everybody, right? So if you can bring the cost of living down, cost of housing, cost of groceries, all that good stuff, mainly cost of housing down, you're doing, that's the main meat of the issue right here that I think most people respond to, other than the far off other ideologies that they may have about who they want in office and who they don't want in office. Okay, so if we strip all that away, let's look at what the main issue is. All right, and it also provides a big opportunity, guys. This housing shortage right now, housing crisis, whatever you want to call it, it's a big opportunity for the trades. The tradesmen, the builders, the construction guys, to really prosper, right? Because I think Harris was talking about building 3 million new homes, and over the span of 4 years or something like that. And if you get in now, me, I always push the trades, right? Get a skill, all that good stuff. If you get in right now, and I'm not going to say who's supposed to get in office or not, but either way, either side has to tackle this problem. Okay, so if you go out there and get a skill right now, get certified in something, this is one of the perfect times to do that, right? This is like one of those times where it's like, no, you better jump in right now because it may not, So yeah, I would suggest that, guys. Leave a comment if you think this is informative. By the way, guys, if you want to support the channel, go to calibrate.com. It's on the screen right there. See what we got for you. And I'm always looking to add new products, for you guys, to serve you guys. And I have a digital planner coming out. Okay, a home improvement planner to help you keep on track with your projects. And you can budget it. You can do before and after photos, all that good stuff on the planner. So look out for that. And I'll be dropping the links to that pretty soon once I finalize everything and get it online for you. Okay. But in the meantime, go check out calibrate.com and see what we got there. We got some nice basic household tools that every homeowner should have. Okay, guys, talking about housing, right? So once you get your house, you got to know how to maintain it. And nobody says you got to be a tradesman, but you have to, be able to at least keep it up. So check it out. All right. So yeah, we talked about high interest rates, keeping people out of the market, the housing market. And like I said, Harris's approach is a lot more detailed. And I think that's one of her strong points when it comes to tackling this. Let's look at it for a second here. Let's see. She's going to provide a low income housing tax credit. Okay. And the first ever tax incentive for home builders. Okay. It's not just for the homeowners, for home builders. So the builders have an incentive to build, once again, build these starter homes for these first time home buyers, which I think is great. Okay. But, all this stuff remains to be seen. Before an election, on the run up to an election, you always have, promises. Let's see how many of those promises by either side are going to be fulfilled. Because, you can get emotionally charged just off of words alone, off of promises alone. And then after people get what they want, then, it's like, okay, what did I say? Did I say I would do that? But in any case, at least it's interesting to talk about, right? She also has some very interesting agendas as well. Stop Predatory Investing Act, which would remove key benefits for major investors who acquire large numbers of single-family rental homes. She's talking about the predatory behaviors of large investors who just scoop up land, scoop up houses, and end up raising the price and pricing out the average consumer who's trying to get in. Okay, so that's also good because at least she's recognizing this stuff goes on, and for her to at least speak about it and put it in one of her agendas is great as well. So let's see here. Aside from that, like I said, everything that comes with home ownership, just living in general, lower grocery costs, lower, you know, uh, drugs for the elderly, right? Or just for yourself, like prescription drugs, relieving medical debt, cut taxes for workers and families with children, all the cookie cutter, stuff you hear before an election and stuff like that. But the main thing I wanted to focus on tonight is the housing thing, because you can't get away from that, right? You just can't get away from that. All right. And like I said, Trump, he focuses more on the I think the upper aspects of this issue, the mortgage rates issue. But I think he misspoke in some areas. But I do think that he's willing to tackle this. Okay, I think he's willing to tackle this. He understands that it is a problem, and that in order for him to get over that hump, he has to address it, right? So there's some controversial issues that he brings along with that, though, that the other side won't bring along with it, right? The whole immigration issue and how that's, causing prices to go up as well in the housing market, right? So the other side won't talk about that because, well, right? Everybody has their agenda, and certain people fit into their agenda, and it doesn't do well for them to talk ill of them. Okay. But on the other side, they're gonna say, yeah, let's crack down on immigration, right? Because that's causing prices to skyrocket, and that's a very hot button issue with people, right? With a lot of people in this country, very polarizing issue, and there's it could be a lot of truth to it, right? So I think both are filling the gaps of each other, depending on, and that's on purpose, right? Because you don't want to offend your base, those people that are going to propel you further. So one side's going to get one side is afraid of offending another, so they won't mention them, and the other side is going to mention them because it's touching on a very sore point. Okay. I mean, you talk about mass deportation and stuff like that. That could get very hectic. Okay, in people's heads, right? So yeah, it's all about that. A lot of opportunity coming down the pike, I think, no matter who gets in there, and we should all look out for that, right? At least prepare ourselves. Now, on some other issues that are more state and local centered. For instance, where I am in the county of Los Angeles, there are a couple of measures, right? A couple of measures in the lower level election process that are being proposed. And I thought I would bring it up because it does have an effect on you, whether you know it or not. See, the thing about it is a lot of us don't want to get involved in the political process in terms of voting and stuff like that. Everybody has their reasons. They think it doesn't matter and all this stuff like that. But at least be aware of what issues are being brought forth, because they can affect you, whether you know it or not. Here's one. This is called State Measures 36. Okay, this is the official ballot for general election November 5th, today, 2024, in the county of Los Angeles. Allows felony charges. State Measure 36. It allows felony charges and increases for certain drug and theft crimes. Initiative statute. So in other words, it says allows felony charges for possessing certain drugs and for thefts under $950. So if you're out there slanging whatever, or if you got some drugs in your possession, and it's worth under $950, you could get a felony slapped on you. Okay, you can get a felony slapped on you and put you out of circulation for a minute. Now you're going to go and work on another plantation and work for them. Okay, except they're going to tell you when to get up, when to eat, when to go to sleep, and all that good stuff now. So, yeah, anything having to slapping more charges on people, more penalties on people, especially when it comes to the penal system, uh, that's going to affect certain communities where it's just we know what communities they're going to affect the most. Okay, so they have stuff like this on the ballots, guys. Okay, in your state and local elections that maybe you should start being more aware of. Okay, here's another one: County Measure A homelessness services and affordable housing ordinance. This is going to require accountability and results, create affordable housing, support home ownership, provide rental assistance, increase mental health and addiction treatment, reduce and prevent homelessness, and provide services for children, families, veterans, domestic violence survivors, seniors, disabled people experiencing homelessness. All right, this right here, definitely vote a yes on. I mean, who doesn't want that? This is, so they have when you examine the measures, some of them are going to be like, damn, no, hell, no, that's not going to happen. I don't agree with that at all. Others are going to be like, that's a no brainer right there. This one right here, County Measure A, is a no brainer, and anything having to do with housing, right? Like I said, I live in a city where homelessness is rampant here. Ever since I got it, it was there. It was like that. It's been like that, okay? And the pandemic and stuff like that didn't help at all. At some areas it looked like you were in a Mad Max movie. But yeah, so this is an initiative that I totally agree with. Let me see if I can find any more that's made me look twice. Let's see here. Oh, here's one. This could really affect small businesses, and you can look at it from two different sides. Okay, you can look at this particular one. This is State Measure 32. Excuse the noise, guys. I'm by a window, a lot of traffic. This is State Measure 32 here. It raises the minimum wage initiative statute. Okay, raises minimum wage. I'm just as follows. It says for employers with 26 or more employees to $17 immediately, $18 on January 1st, 2025. Okay. So what else? It says for employers with 25 or fewer, $17 on January 1st, 2025, $18 to $18 on January 1st, 2025. So yeah, that dollar increase can really, it can affect you if your margin's already tight, So hey, I'm not mad at somebody getting minimum wage going up a little bit, to help. But if you're not like offsetting that on the back end for the employers, then it's kind of canceling itself out. I mean, to cancel it out, then you're putting extra weight on employers, the people that give people jobs in the first place. You're putting an extra burden on them, and you got to think about that. Okay, so that could be a no for you, depending on what side of the coin you're on. Right, you may not want to vote for that. So, very interesting. All right. Oh, this is a big one right here. Okay, guys. State Measure 6. It eliminates constitutional provision allowing involuntary servitude for incarcerated persons. This is a legislative constitutional amendment. It amends the California Constitution to remove current provision that allows jails and prisons to impose involuntary servitude to punish crime. Okay. Yeah. Well, guess what? I mean, that sounds good to me. I mean, but that's basically slavery right there. It's like a mini abolition of slavery initiative right here. Okay. So yeah, definitely vote a yes on that. I mean, it's bad enough you're not you're going away for years, and you may not see your people or you can only see them on visiting day, whatever. And it's bad enough you got to work almost for free labor, right? So it's hey, I get it. There's some people out there in the world that are very, I don't know, bad, if you want to use that term, but a lot of people are in there for minor offenses, working, you know, having to work for free and all this stuff. So, you know, I tend to go to at least be somewhat fair for those kinds of people, which I think is the majority of people. So, anyway, guys, the whole point of this is to this live tonight is just to make you more aware of what's going on out there in terms of like, you know, decisions being made in those rooms. Okay, that you may want to be a part of or not, and you think it may not affect you, but it actually does in small ways. So if you're more, if you're so inclined, start to educate yourself, see what's out there. I mean, the information's out there. Okay, at least know what's going on. So, you know, so you can make an informed decision, or if somebody brings it up to you, you know at least something of what's happening out there when it comes to decisions and policies that are gonna affect you. If it doesn't affect you, it'll affect your loved one. Okay. So anyway, guys, hope you got some out of this live. Stay up, you know, keep at it. Whatever you're doing, don't give up. You know, just work a little harder, be a little bit more creative, and appreciate you guys coming on. Have a good night. See you in the next one.